Hello there, folks. I'm Dan Brown from a sort of interesting life.com. You're joining me on board good old narrowboat Tilly for Dan's Ultimate Boat Basics, and today we're going to talk about reversing a narrowboat. So there's a few things to consider, but we're going to go straight to a clip of me actually reversing Tilly. I literally unmoored and just floated around in the canal for 5 minutes to do this video just before. I suppose the first thing we should talk about in this video is this absolutely beautiful scenery. Oh, great stuff, and what a beautiful day to do it too. Anyway, onto the reversing. So, unless you're on a boat that's got any fancy gadgetry such as bow thrusters, when it comes to reversing a narrowboat, you're very likely to have very little or no steering at all when travelling backwards. And that's basically because obviously a boat is set up to be travelling forwards almost all of the time. So you can see me steering here with the tiller, the big stick that I'm holding, that then goes down and moves the rudder around underneath the water, and then right in front of the rudder is the propeller. So obviously as you're travelling forwards, not only is the propeller creating that forward momentum, but it's also forcing all of the water over the rudder, and moving the rudder is how you steer the boat. Whereas in reverse, obviously, if the propeller's spinning the other direction and dragging the boat backwards, it's also not forcing water over the rudder, so you lose all of that steering. And what you're seeing is how I generally try and reverse, which is something that I don't do very often, and it's unlikely you'll ever have to do any great journeys in reverse. So in most normal circumstances, I would hope that you wouldn't have to. So basically, what you're seeing me do here is reverse up, and again, you're not talking about flooring it or doing anything crazy, going as slow as anything, going backwards, and then as the boat naturally drifts out of alignment of where you want it to be going, so that could literally just be naturally there's some reason that the boat pulls to one side, for example, the flow of water, and even the wind. Well, especially the wind is a good factor in terms of lining up your boat as you're travelling. But when it does start to go out of line with where I want it to go, because obviously I can't just use the tiller to steer where I'm going, and this is where bow thrusters might come in very handy to angle the boat from the far end away from you. Instead, what you're seeing me do here is, whenever the boat goes out of line, just give a little bit of throttle forwards again, and then turn the tiller to whichever direction I need it to go to realign the boat. But the real trick here is timing, and it's not something that's real technical or difficult to figure out. It's more just actually having the practice and knowing the general timings, as you obviously don't want to give it a load of throttle and get the boat going quickly from one side or the other, because unlike with a car where you can just put the brakes on and be physically stationary in one specific position, on a boat you have that general element of uncertainty and momentum from floating about in the water, so you're always gaining momentum, losing momentum, drifting slightly. So what I try and do is give it a little bit of throttle just to slowly start the back end of the boat pointing in the direction I want it to go in, and then before it actually reaches that point I'll go back into reverse, so that as the boat continues to drift in the direction I want, it already starts to also move backwards too, hopefully lining up. Well, I suppose that's as good an explanation as I can give in actual words about getting you on the boat itself, so hopefully that's proved interesting or, well, possibly useful if we're very lucky. I suppose this is a good time to wrap things up then and say please do consider checking out the links in the description to find my short boat life Kindle books that are on Amazon right now. Please do consider subscribing to this channel and checking out the hundreds of boating videos already uploaded here. And well, until the next time, keep it boat worthy, have a fantastic day, and of course, farewell.